Welcome to Wilder Wolves Hall of Fame mode fandom. My name is Wilder Adams, and today I am so lucky to be joined by my guy, host of the Pick a Side podcast. I'm with River Brown. River, man, I haven't talked to you in forever, my friend. How's life?
Life is good, man, and I'm super lucky to talk to you, bro. I feel like you're a blessing, I'm a blessing. We're blessings of the higher ups. But like, yo, I feel like this year I've been super just objective, and I feel like this year I've been less of a hater, and it's leading me to watch some great basketball. I feel like basketball's been great this year. But Christmas was cool. Christmas was nice. The Christmas games were all right. They threw some NFL on there. Horrible watches. Turned those off pretty fast. But I'm feeling good. I'm off till the 5th, and I'm just happy to talk Minnesota Timberwolves basketball today.
Oh my gosh, man. I watching those NFL games, that's why it'll never touch NBA Christmas, man, because
Nope.
I mean, it's late in the season and somebody's always hurt and most of the playoff seeds are cemented. It's really hard to get like a meaningful game in NFL football. And the Vikings game, dude, I my eyes were very sore after watching Brosmer play for 4 quarters. That was the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think like we need to start adding like we can flex games. I think that has to be something. Like whether it's NBA or NFL, it has to be something where we can't just stick to this schedule and go with it. Like at some point we have to be like enough is enough. 4 weeks prior, we know these teams should not be playing on this day. We need to switch the schedule up.
Yeah, they need to change the schedule, man. Or just like, I don't know, maybe make like an in-season tournament or something that like makes cool Christmas games. I don't know. It's
Like today, I think today is Houston and the Chargers. That could have easily been on Christmas.
yeah.
Easily. Like, what's a difference of a day? That's all I'm saying. But who am I?
Yeah, and you never know with like the Chiefs, Mahomes tearing his ACL. You don't know that's going to happen. I
That's
mean,
true.
Vikings having a third string quarterback, undrafted guy start. That's
I
just
just I just don't know who thought putting the Commanders up there was cool. Like even in the offseason, that just didn't feel like that was the move for me. But I know Dallas has to always be up there. Like, oh, I get it. But all these other teams. But I thought the NBA Christmas games, I feel like the slate kind of made sense. Denver, Minnesota, games are always awesome. Games are always great. They always have a classic, and they always put them at night anyways. So it's like
mhm.
always the end of the night game. Knicks and Cavs was a good game. That makes sense. Dallas and the Warriors, I felt like they over exaggerated the Clay Golden State like story. It's nobody cares. Like OKC Spurs, Bruin rivalry, get it. Houston, the Lakers, snooze fest, get it though. Kevin Durant versus LeBron, whatever. So I guess the storylines are cool, but like I feel like Christmas should be market the young players day. Like that should be market the young players day, market the young teams day. Have the young players, and I get it. Steph and LeBron make you so much money. You trying to milk them as much as you can,
Yeah.
but like in my opinion, I tweeted it. I was like, "Yo, we should have flexed Detroit on Christmas." Like Detroit should have jumped on Christmas. Like, whoever they play, maybe they play Houston, or maybe like young team, something. They always make it a game, but Adam Silver has his way of thinking, and he's the boss, and I'm not, so he's smarter than me.
Well, I mean, I do feel like the NBA has done a really bad job marketing young players. It's kind of like they have to like, knock on the window till the window cracks until you notice them. I mean, Anthony Edwards took him 4 years to really get noticed by media. And of course they pick and choose who they want to like market, whether it's like Zion, who is on the bench lately. He got everything right away, and then they missed on him. They tried to make Ja the face of the league, and then Ant. It took time. Now we're here. They got Wemby and Flag there. Before we get started in today's show, I am so thrilled to tell you guys about the first ever Wilder Wolves podcast sponsor, 612 Tees. 612 offers a wide range of uniquely designed Minnesota sports tees, and you can see these awesome Timberwolves options right here. Because I am chronically online, the one that resonates with me is the Wizard of Nas t-shirt, because I've spent a lot of time making memes, and I once made a Wizard of Nas meme, so it comes to life in this t-shirt, and I am definitely going to buy one. But there's not only Timberwolves tees here, because you can look up here. There's a ton of different sports. You can also get crew necks, accessories, etc. There's a lot of Nas Reed agenda right here, and we always promote a Nas Reed agenda on Wilder Wolves. And then you see this really sick Justin Jefferson crew neck.
Use the code Wilder25 to get 25% off your first purchase. It's a great way to support a small business, and it also helps this show out quite a bit, so definitely check them out.
I know we've had conversation about the Wolves over the years, and the fan base and you go back and forth sometime, man. Just like at this point in time, man, how would you describe your relationship in Timberwolves world?
You know, Christmas, I tweeted, I was like, yo, I think Minnesota wins tonight. Fans started attacking me. Like, I was like, what the hell? If I'd have picked Denver, you'd have called me a hater. But then I picked Minnesota. It's like, oh, how are they going to beat Denver? But I think we're at a good place. I think so. I haven't argued with any Minnesota fans too much. I think I've been understanding and giving their players praise. I was on I forgot the show I was on last Saturday. I had Anthony Edwards in my MVP conversation. I think he was like
Ooh.
4 or 5. So he was one of those spots because obviously 1 and 2 is clear cut. 3 to like 5 is like you could put like 4 or 5 dudes in there.
Yeah.
But I had Ant in there. And I think we're at a good place. Minnesota, I respect them definitely in the regular season. Playoffs, they always surprise you. They always do some out of world shit and they end up in the WCF. They've done that the last 2 years. But I think we're in a good place. I think Minnesota, they're a good team and they've built a nice collection of talent. Now, we're obviously going to talk about the deeper roots of their problems, but I think for the most part, I'm just objectively speaking on what they need and what they don't need.
We ran a show one time called Objectively Biased together. And I feel like that's the root of all of it, man. Like this show, it's very objectively biased. Sometimes, I mean, we give analysis on the show, and I'm not trying to lie here. I never, I don't like people who gaslight and try to make up takes just to make people mad or exaggerate emotions. And we're just crazy at a neutral state here. So you know what? But thank you all so much for listening. If before we get started, if you could subscribe to Wilder Wolves, would so appreciate it. We're going to continue growing this community as they try to get back to the third straight Western Conference Finals and maybe further on. But Rivers, so I want to just ask you, going into this season, how is your view on this Timberwolves team among the Western Conference in 30 games in, 31? They're 20-11. How has that changed?
Okay, so man, we did our predictions. I want to say like August, September, and I don't remember the exact number, but I did have them as a top 6 seed. I thought like what they've shown you in the regular season is consistently they're going to pump out a top 10 defense and their offense is going to gradually improve. You're going to get an improvement from Ant-Man coming into the season. I was really critical to see how Jaden McDaniels would come in this year with the way he finished off last year, especially in the regular season. Nas Reed got paid. How do you come back from getting paid a good amount of money? Do you fix that? Dante DiVincenzo, like how is he going to look? And what's going to be the point guard situation? So coming in, I had them as a top 6 seed. I think they've, kind of met my expectations so far, 20-11. And I still feel like there's room to grow with this team. And I think that's the beauty of it. 20-11, you're hovering around the 4-6 range right now, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So you're hovering around the 4-6 range. You have room to improve. I think the point guard position is glaring. I think it's been a problem for them since like the start of Mike Conley's decline, which we can pick and choose when that was, but the point is it's here. It's evident. Dante's not a point guard. I think Ant can't be a full-time point guard. Obviously, he's grown as a playmaker, but you need a point guard. And I think I made this tweet because I saw I think Evan Sidori or somebody posted the point guards that Minnesota was looking at. It's guys like Kobe White, Colin Sexton, and I don't think those are the point guards you need. I don't even think those are point guards. Those are kind of like Dante DiVincenzo's. You're just bringing in more scoring, like guys like Malik Monk in that department. So I think getting a point guard would definitely solidify this team. How good the point guard is. I've seen Darius Garland for Jaden talks. I personally would stay out of those. He's too injury prone. Like if he's on, but you just can't rely on him. I think Jaden McDaniels right now, you can rely on what he can provide you. And I was looking at his splits. He's efficient from everywhere on the floor, like mid-range, at the rim. I think at the rim he was shooting about 72%. Let me double check because I just had it up. Yeah, 72% at the rim. And he's in a good percentile in terms of the rim and the short mid. He's shooting 72% at the rim, 43% from the short mid, 42% from the long mid. Doesn't take too many, and 40% from the three-point line. Yes, I am rounding. 4 attempts a game. So he's pretty efficient. And I think that's important, just as a scorer, picking your spots, and he's also giving you high level defense. For Minnesota, I think they've met my expectations, and I think they have another level that they can get to. Now, will they get to that this season? I don't know. But I do think they always feel like there's another level that they can get to. I just don't know if they ever meet it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Before I get into everything you said, you know about my unhealthy obsession with Jaden McDaniels,
Yes, you
and
called them better than Jaylen Brown.
I didn't. No, I didn't. I never said. I said he could become better than Jaylen Brown, which is still wrong.
Yeah,
But
Jaylen right now looks. Whoo, yeah.
dude, is there
Stop.
8 players better than him? Is there
8?
are there 8 right now better than Jaylen Brown?
Well, Wemby, Joker, SGA, Giannis. Are you saying like just this season?
Ant, Luca.
Donovan Mitchell. I feel like he's had a better
I
season
I
this
would
year.
take Brown over Mitchell, bro.
Donovan's been unworldly this year.
But Brown, I mean, he has a less talented roster. They're a better team. I think Brown adds more size and defensive
Fair.
presence. And I think
Fair.
the playmaking and the creation stuff have balanced out a little bit. He's over 5 assists a game this year. So
Fair.
he's shown growth in all those aspects. I think he's probably like the 9th best player. Jaden McDaniels, please become better than Jaylen Brown. We're going to win a championship if we do that. But, dude, he's great. And I honestly think with Jaden, I keep saying this to people, there's still another gear here. He's at that 16, 15 point per game range on 50 something percent, all of the efficiency. I still think he's underutilized. Like that Denver Nuggets game, Minnesota, maybe because they don't have a true point guard, but
Yep.
also they kind of put him in the corner. Guys like, Nas, Randall, Ant, they're more involved in the center of the court. And then Jaden exclusively relies on attacking closeouts, not because he can't create, but because they already have guys who need to do that to be impactful. So they put Jaden aside because he is impactful there, but also you're getting value out of him even if he's not involved offensively. So I think he kind of gets pushed down offensively because of how good he is defensively sometime with the rest of the roster. I think if Jaden McDaniels got more shots, man, I'm dead serious when I say this. I think Jada could be a 21 point per game player.
He's
If
at
he
17 right now, so.
he's got, I mean, the jumper's better, man. The way he could just, like, there's games where it's like, why can't Minnesota hit a shot? And then Jaden's 4 for 5 at the half. It's
Yep.
like, all right, why are we not feeding Jaden? I think there's a gear here, man. And maybe it's going to gradually get there when the roster ages out. I don't know. But yeah, Jaden's interesting. And I think you're right about this team. The really good thing about this squad is that Minnesota, they're 20-11, and I spent an episode the other day just completely complaining about they're always trailing by double digits in games. The playmaking could be better. The perimeter shot creation from the guard position outside of Ant's not that good. They're still 20-11, and they're a top 10 offense and defense. So it's really interesting, man, because I think one stage of this growth of this team is it's internal. I think even that Nuggets game, you get down 17 and then you crawl back. They always do that. And I think they probably lose themselves unintentional games by doing that, even if they're capable of winning that day. So can that kind of ground itself and you're putting yourself into more advantageous spots? They've already gotten better at playing bad teams. So that's the next step for me, like internally.
Yeah, there's still a level I feel like of maturity that this group has to get to, and you touched on it briefly, where it's just being down in those moments, being able to just kind of like shoot themselves in the foot. I feel like this team kind of does that a little bit too much, where they shoot themselves in the foot. And you would think a team that's grown together for a good amount of time, they would kind of fix those issues, but it still lingers around. And I think that comes down to coaching. I think that stuff like that comes down to coaching and the standard your coach sets. You've had the same issues for like 3 to 4 years. And you have had, you've had the same coach for all that time for the most part. So I think that is, because the precedent that's set in practice, in training camp, on the road, at home, you kind of have to be like, I'm gonna use Detroit for example, where JB Bickerstaff has set a standard for them. And Detroit, for the most part, has kept that up. They don't make the same mistakes multiple times. They always come to play. I think for Minnesota, it's kind of like setting that precedent where we can't shoot ourselves in the foot. We can't have these internal, these lackluster IQ plays all the time. It's a point where we need to grow. And I think you guys It's weird because I think you guys have a mixture of young players and vets where
Hmm.
you can kind of like still figure it out, and that's why I feel like you guys do have another year to get to. Now, I still think you have instructional problems, like where your roster may not be where it is with OKC or San Antonio, who they're on their way right now.
Hmm.
But you have Ant-Man, so you have a top 7 player in the world. It doesn't take too long to just put things together. But the glaring need is what you've needed for a long time.
Yeah, man. I think if you go on Timberwolves Twitter and you just look up Chris Finch and look at the comment history, depending on the night, it is beautiful. And some other nights, it's like, get this guy out of here. That's kind of how Timberwolves fans feel. And I talked about the other day, like, I think Chris Finch can coach. I think he can. I don't think you win as many games in Minnesota as he has without being a good coach. And his teams, they always have a standard. They do win basketball games. And I think that matters a lot. And I think he's done great developing Ant, Nas, Jaden, etc. But then, like you're saying, there's also that part where this is more on the coach than young players, where this team their focus kind of fizzes out and then it comes back in and then you're like, what's really going on? Like, all right, there's a run, coach, let's call a timeout, let's get a good play, let's get some rhythm, let's wake the team up, right? Set that precedent. Like that's a lot of questions that
Yeah.
Minnesota fans have of Finch.
And I think it would be different if, like, for Cleveland, for example, if Cleveland had a soft and physicality problem prior to Kenny Atkinson. You know what I'm saying? And then they got a new coach, and they still have those same problems where they just too soft at times. So it would be different if Minnesota had these issues with multiple coaches, but it's like it's one coach, same core, same problems. I do think he's a good coach. Sometimes you need to get a good coach out of there and elevate to that great coach to take you to the next level.
Mhm.
Whether that be somebody else, I don't know. We've kind of seen it happen in the NBA. So maybe Chris Finch has, pulled the Tom Thibodeau when he needs to go. You need to find somebody better. But only time will tell because he keeps saving his job. I say that, but he keeps making a WCF. So if you keep making a
Yeah.
WCF, it's like, all right, like you're Minnesota, you're a small to middle market team. It's like, what would we rather have, multiple WCFs or first round exits?
Yeah, that's the funny thing with like the Vikings in the NFL, where I think that's a very risk adverse culture
Yep.
because it's terrifying to have a young quarterback to go through a tough season to make a bold move. That's just any move that could fail your team, but also push you another level. That's like terrifying and highly controversial in that community. And I feel like the Timberwolves community, it's a little different. I think these fans have been appreciative where they're at right now. I can sense that for sure. But now it's like, okay, what's the next step? We got Anthony Edwards. There's a really high intellect and awareness within this fan base about this team. And I think that's, you hit it right on the money. Throughout the season, it's going to be a question. Like his job isn't in danger. And I'm not making this a Chris Finch hate fest. That's not. But
Yeah.
objectively, how he handles the rest of this season is going to continue setting like, okay, is this the guy who's the answer? And it's only a matter of time. And the team continues to grow in those spots where they're culturally weak. Or is this a Mark Jackson situation where you need your Steve Kerr? I don't know the answer to that, but it's definitely something that we should all watch.
Thibodeau just got fired and he made DCF. So,
Yeah. The NBA's
sometimes,
tar-
yeah.
Dwayne Casey, bro, got fired after winning a Coach of the Year, leading the
Yep.
Raptors far in the playoffs. I mean, there's this weird thing where I think, in life, I'll tell my friends this, like, keep your standards high, man. Just because she said yes to you doesn't mean you have to hold on to her forever, you
Yep.
know?
It's a good bar.
So, thank you, man.
It's a
Appreciate
good
that.
bar.
Appreciate you. Yeah, like, sometimes you could go for a better woman once in a while, but I tell my friends that. So, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to navigate. And just how do you think we were just talking about point guard a minute ago? How do you think this team can realistically add a point guard that adds value that we're talking about who can manage the game? Because me personally, I am pro like Kobe White or Colin Sexton, not because they're going to fix those problems you're mentioning, but I do think adding a ball handling threat will fix some of those issues because Dante isn't that. So do you think how bad do you think they really need a true point guard, and how do they realistically get that?
Yeah, it always depends on what you have to give up. You know, like I do agree on the sentiment that Dante is not a traditional ball handler. Like he's never been that. Like
Mm-hmm.
watched him in Golden State, watched him with Milwaukee, watched him in New York. That's not really him. He's more of a catch and shoot, come off the screen type of vibe. I think he would also play much better if he didn't have the ball in his hands a ton. How do you get that? Who are you trying to move? Like then I think like who's expendable? Obviously, Ant, Jaden, Rudy are not. I feel like those are your three guys. And Randall, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like Randall could be moved for the right price. Like it depends on who it is. I think he's being moved more for like a high level all-star type of person. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking more in a sense of really good role player, high level role player. I was thinking, call me crazy, but I was thinking like if Drew Holiday was a little bit healthier, that could be a guy you guys could have got, but then he's getting paid about 36 million. So
Yeah.
that would be a Nas Reed and somebody else will have to go. But I was thinking more in the Drew because I feel like Drew Holiday makes this team like this is a team that can maybe make some real noise. I mean, they always make noise, so crazy to say that. But this is a team that, I think Drew Holiday could elevate this team too. But there's not many traditional point guards. So if you're going in the business of getting a Kobe White, I do think he adds shot making. I think he also adds another ball handler, another scoring threat off the bench, or even if you want to start him. I think I'll be cool off of Colin Sexton. I think that's somebody I'm not really too high and above on.
Yeah.
But there's just not many. Like I used to think guys like Tyus Jones would be cool, but I don't know. I think a guy like Ty Jerome, if he played a little bit more, but Memphis is going to be in the business of keeping him.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a lot of options out here. Like maybe it would have been a Fred VanVleet, but Houston clearly would need him this year. It's not many guys off the top of my head. That's why I think the market was guys like Kobe White and Colin Sexton.
Yeah, I think it's a fascinating conversation because part of me is starting to think that people used to think like centers were dying, but I think what's actually dying are small traditional playmaking guards. And I think that's why people are talking about Trey Young and John Morant and some of these small guards, Darius Garland being in the trade market within the next 18 months. It's because building around those type of players, it's not as easy. And you are playing against a team like LA with a Luka dribbling or Shea or even wings like Tatum and maybe eventually Cooper Flag, right? It's becoming more important to have a big playmaker, which is why ideally it's like Ant's the playmaker, and then you set everything else outside of that. But then there's a fair question. Is Anthony Edwards a true playmaker to that degree, or can he get there? I think there's a world he can get there, but between you and me, man, right now, I don't think that's right now because I don't think his accuracy as a passer is quite where it needs to be a true floor general. I complain about pass accuracy from Ant more than probably anything else because I think it sells him one assist a game, at least a game. People will like watch, like, if you get the ball, you should be able to shoot it, man. But if you play ball, and I know you play ball, Riv, it's so hard to like make a shot and capture your composure when you're capturing at the bottom of your leg or you have to reach out to the left and recover and reset. It's hard, man. So do you think that Edwards can be that primary playmaker, or do they really need to grab a dinosaur like a small guard?
A dinosaur. First of all, John Morant, good game last night. We're getting there. We're getting back. He grittied last night. The vibes are back.
It's over, man. It's over.
No, the vibes are back in a sense of just good basketball. I'm not asking you to go back to 2022. I just need to see good basketball. If I can see that, I'm fine. I'm good. I'm happy. Can Ant do that? Here's the thing. Here's the tricky part. Because I saw this question on Twitter, and we're probably going to talk about it, so we could probably like just bring it in together. Ant's been playing at an all-world level this year. And you talked about Jaylen Brown. You can't name about 8-9 players better than him. You probably can't name about 7 better than Ant this year. But to reach that level, because I think he is like obviously I'm using this year, also last year too. I don't want to just use the 30 games, but he's in that tier 2 with guys like Steph, Luka, and Tatum and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because tier 1 is obviously Shea, Giannis, Joker. I think that's tier 1. If you
Mhm.
want to throw Luka in there, whatever. I don't really care. I'm not going to harp on that too much. But if Luka's not in there, he's the top of tier 2. So Ant's in that tier 2. To get to that tier 1, he needs to be a playmaker. I think people undersell that too much. And I don't think because you need to be able at this day and age, there needs to be multiple facets of your game that's elite. SGA is probably the one guy where it's not because he's just such an otherworldly scorer and the efficiency. He doesn't turn the ball over that you're like, he can just carry terrible lineups. But Ant needs to get to that level as a playmaker. And I look at the Donovan Mitchell trend that he can follow, where Donovan Mitchell didn't become this all-world guard playmaker until, 2 years ago when he went to
Yeah.
Cleveland and stuff like that, and he started to really open up that bag. I think Ant can follow that trend. Well, he's like 23, 24. He's young. He hasn't got to that mature part of his game. I think once he does at 26, 27, we're probably looking at a complete player, because I think defensively, when he's locked in, he's awesome as a one-on-one defender. I think that's also another part of his game that he could be a little bit more consistent on a play-by-play basis, just off ball, being more, intensive and being more focused. I think that's important. But I think he could do it. I think to say he can't is stupid because he's literally came in. He was an awful shooter, and now he's one of the best shooters in basketball. So it'd just be dumb to say he can't. I think his work ethic speaks for itself in the sense of he's always going to improve. And I think playing overseas with guys like Steph Curry, LeBron, Kevin Durant, watching their work ethic, that's only upped his game even more. And I think he's the one guy that really took everything from that. And you can see it in his game. He's actually talked about Steph a ton and how his work ethic has helped him and helped him balance out his. I think that's what helped his shooting. I think the playmaking is going to get there. Now, is it going to get there in time? I don't know. Because I also think being a good playmaker also involves the type of players you're in. I don't think he has a good catching big man. I think that's important. Rudy Gobert is not the best with his hands. I also think he doesn't have a ton of shooters around them, but I think that team fits like a defensive glove. So you kind of have to give one up without getting the other. But I think he'll get there. I think it's just going to take a couple years.
Yeah, man, I think that's a right way to put it. He's just gotten so much better every single year. I mean, he almost made first team last year, and he's significantly better this year, like significantly better. Last year, it was like, holy crap, he can shoot. Now he's spamming threes. This season, it's everything. Everything is a score. He's back to being efficient at the rim. He is getting his own shots in mid-range, a great situational shot maker from every single level. You add that playmaking Anthony Edwards, dude. I'm not one of those he can't pass people. I do think he can pass. I think there's a level where it's like, okay, you're playing 3D chess, or the bare minimum, you're great at, okay, they're collapsing. I'm going to get the ball not only to my teammate, but in an advantageous spot where they're not reaching for the ball, or it's a little late or a little early.
It's that if you get double teamed, are you going to make the pass to the left, which is I don't want to say easy, but the right pass, or can you hit that skip pass to that opposite end when somebody is wide open? Like that's that level I think where he can get to.
It's kind of like a quarterback in the NFL. You can get to the ball to the receiver, but are you able to get it out of the pocket early enough and in stride enough where they get yards after the catch?
Yep.
Once they get the ball, there's a difference, right? Some quarterbacks, they get it late or they're not that accurate. And by the time the receiver gets it, boom, the defender's there. I feel like that's Ant as a playmaker right now, where he's getting it there when he wasn't early in his career. But now it's about, okay, can we get the timing right? Can we get the accuracy right so they can hit it in stride when they're open and in rhythm? Dude, if he adds that, I mean, what is the ceiling as an offensive player? Because I'm looking at a dude right now. Is this a hot take? Like, I think he's at this point probably outside of Jokic the most just in Shea, like the most complete scorer in basketball right now, just what he can do from every level. Like, what would that add as a playmaker?
Yeah, complete. Yeah, he's probably off the top of my head, him and Donovan, right? Like just complete from everywhere. Yeah, right there. Like they would be like the because like you're just talking complete, and I don't want people to misconstrue what you're saying. It's just from all areas, mid range, the paint, 3-point line. It's them two. It's like Joker's SGA, him, Mitchell, Luka. I would say Luka because he's efficient at the rim, but he doesn't get there enough. He
doesn't get there, and he's the 32% 3-point shooter.
Yeah, Kyrie when he's healthy is another guy who's pretty efficient from all areas. That like he'd be a top 3 scorer in basketball. Like he's already up there, like 3, 4, 5. He's like, dude, it's he'll be a complete offensive player. He'll be what we think Tatum used to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's
That's
crazy. I was actually fighting with Tatum fans on Twitter yesterday because they were doing this thing. Celtics fans do this thing, and I like most Celtics fans. So don't make this people who are watching I hate Celtics thing. No, it's not. But anytime I make a compliment to Ant, it's somehow an indirect shot at Tatum.
yeah.
And it's like I've never seen somebody so defensive about a player when it has nothing to do with them. All I said yesterday was there's 3 players in the world, clearly no debate, no
I did see
conversation
that
better.
tweet.
Shea, Jokic, Giannis. We were just
Yeah.
talking. There's the next tier, and then you can debate Ant with the
Yeah.
Lukas, the Tatums, the Wembys, the Cades. I mean, that's the next group, but you can argue in that group. You can't argue the first 3. And then somehow it's people comparing Ant to Tatum's age 24. And I'm like, Ant's still a more complete scorer than Tatum ever was.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, I didn't hate the tweet at all. Like I looked at it, read it like 3 times, and I was like, oh, it makes sense when you think about it. Because tier 1 is untouched. Well, Wemby can probably get there, and people are gonna glaze Wemby, put him at 4, fine, whatever. I don't care. Right. Like, even though he's as a playmaker, he's not that good. As a scorer, I would like to see a little bit more, but whatever, who cares? They're gonna glaze him because he's an all-world defender, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say Wemby's in tier 1. Tier 2, Ant versus Tatum. I think on any given night, you can argue either one of them. Ant versus Luka. Any given night, you can argue either one of them. I would take Ant over the older guys, respectfully. Like, I love Steph, and if you tell me it's a 7-game series, I think that's more of a conversation than 82 games of an old man. Steph is a lot more volatile nowadays, and it's because of his volume. He's 37, dude. Like, it's okay. Like, I like, people are getting defensive. I take Ant over LeBron, Kevin Durant. It's fine. Like, it's life. But I think him, Luka, and Tatum are the conversation. I think those are the tier 2 conversations. Those are the next 3 up. And then, of course, Cade is like right after them.
And Wemby? He's in that group too, yeah.
Yeah, I was saying, like, we could throw Wemby in tier 1 because you know how people get. They're going to be in an uproar. Oh, how is he not as good? Blah, blah, blah.
He's got to play 1 minute of playoff basketball and play more than 65 games. He needs to do those 2 in my opinion.
With you. I sit with podcasters that think he's the best in the world. So, I'm with you, though. But I didn't think the tweet was bad. I think and Tatum is a legit conversation. I think what separates them is Ant's a better scorer, way better scorer. Like, I don't think that's a conversation.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about Tatum as a passer, I do think Tatum is a better passer, and Tatum's a more versatile defender. So, like, yeah, but that's Tatum is like probably the best all-around player in the league. Ant can get there. I don't see why he can't.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's transition this conversation to more of a macro thing, because I saw on Twitter, and you corrected me before the show. We were talking. I was going to lie on the show and say you said he is a generational. I'm not lying. That was my fault. But you did talk about you can have a debate on whether Anthony Edwards is generational or not. Is that fair before I lie again?
No, that's around what I said, because I did not say he's not. I was just like, because I think what happened was somebody got upset because I was like, well, is Zach LaVine generation? I just asked. I was like, because they said athleticism, 3-point shooting. So I was like, okay, is Zach LaVine generational? He was like, oh no, how dare you compare him and Ant? And I was like, well, I didn't do that. I just asked you like a general question. Like, I just want to see where we're gauging at with the conversation. But what do you think? Do you think, like, how many generational players do you think we have? Well, first of all, what's your definition of generation talent?
That's a great
generational player, because I feel like we've changed the definition so much over the past 10 years.
So I think there's a contrast between generational talent and generational player.
Okay, walk me through that.
Generational player is the application of your generational talent. So you have the gifts, and now it's about, can you put it together and win in the biggest moments and get the accolades and have a cultural impact? That's a generational player. So Steph's generational, LeBron's generational. I don't think Kevin Durant's generational player. I know that'll piss people off. I think he's a generational talent. But in terms of applying it to winning at the highest level, I think I would take Minnesota over Houston in the series again. And we're 6 years without Kevin Durant getting out of the second round as the best player. So that's the difference between a generational player and talent.
Do you think Allen Iverson is generational player?
No.
Okay. Because
he's a cultural icon.
There we go. Because you mentioned culture in your explanation, so I wanted to ask that question. Okay.
Yeah, he just didn't do it in a championship or accolade standpoint. So
Okay.
Shea is one dude I think could become a generational player. Wemby, I think, could. I think it's so people who haven't done it yet, it's all open for everybody. But the question is, do you have generational talent? And for me, the definition of a generational talent is somebody who can, at their peak, if everything goes right, they're one of the 2 or 3 best players in the world, and they provide a skill set that is unique, but like devastating transformational. So Edwards, I articulated on the tweet yesterday. I called him the best combination between athleticism and shooting we've ever seen. I
Hmm.
stand by that. We can talk about the most athletic players in NBA history. Zero of them can shoot like Anthony Edwards. Someone mentioned Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine is still not the athlete Edwards is. He can jump high. He can
Yeah.
jump really high, but in terms of strength, center of gravity, change of speed, Edwards clears Zach in all those areas. So that's how I would frame it. And I think when you frame it that way, I think what like among young players,
Hmm.
I think Wemby has generational talent. I think Luca has generational talent. When he applies it, he could be a generational player, but he hasn't been applying it. And then I look at SGA, I look at Edwards, and then we'll see from there. I think those are the young players who have generational talent. And if I didn't mention Cooper Flag, total brain fart, I think Cooper Flag, I think, has a chance too. That's where I'm at with it. What do you
Mm.
think?
Okay. That means we would have 4 or 5 generational talents in our era.
And only 1 or 2 could become generational players, and that's
Yeah,
how you get the player.
it's a tricky question because I think when you talk about because I've been watching Ant for a while because I watch college. I even watch high school. So I've seen Ant in high school, seen him in college. I think the growth he's had is truly a Steph Curry like growth, like in the sense of where he was then to where he was now.
Mhm.
It's like you could not have predicted him to be this type of shooter. Like there's just no like dominant paint finisher for sure, like easy prediction. But this type of shooter, no way, no how. Even the defense, you can see the tools. Like yeah, it's strong, physical, good lateral movement. You can see that. The shooting, no way, no how. So to have generational work ethic and to be a generational talent is great. Generational player is going to be the tricky part. I think that's
Mhm.
going to be where he really separates himself. Um, excuse me. When you mention combination of just strength, athleticism, I think of guys because it made me think of guys that either are better athletes or around his athleticism at his position. D Wade, but he didn't have the shooting. You mentioned guys like Kobe, but Kobe wasn't as good of a shooter. MJ obviously is the one guy who's like they're like that's baby MJ. He wasn't as good of a 3-point shooter. So when you put it like that, because what do we say Steph is generational for? The
Shooting
3-point shooting. The 3-point shooting is otherworldly. The
and
way
the
he can
handle.
do it.
I'll give him the
Well, yeah,
handle. I
yes.
think
Like
he's
the combination of
yeah.
handles and the shooting is ridiculous. So when you put it like that, you've swayed me more because it makes sense, and I get it. It makes sense, and I can agree with that. Like, yeah, when you factor in combination of him being a two guard, because like you look at Donovan Mitchell, one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. He's not as athletic as Ant-Man. He's
No.
not even as efficient as Ant-Man. So it's like, and that's probably the next best 3-point, like Devin Booker, not as athletic as Ant-Man.
Or the shooter.
Yeah. So it's like you look at it like, damn, well, he's like lapped his peers in terms of shooting, and then he's lapped his peers already athletically. You have to go back, I want to say, to D Wade to talk about his athleticism. Because I even think Kobe late in his career wasn't the same athlete. So you know what I'm saying? SGA's not the athlete he is. So it's like, yeah, shit. You guys have a generational player in your building. Wow.
Dude, I never expected this shooting to come.
Nobody did.
I remember his 3rd year, and I was telling like friends, this is the dude who could become a really good shooter because you're not just a guy who can effortlessly 4 games a year hit 9+ threes and not become a good shooter someday. Because he was inefficient, but he would have games as a rookie, like against Memphis, 10 threes, 10 threes. He had 10 threes against Denver his 2nd year, and he put together games where he was hitting double-digit threes, and you're like, whoa, okay, there's a dude. I mean, we saw in college too, like in Maui, what he was doing. I mean, he got like what 37 in the second half in one of those games,
Yep.
just throwing haymakers. the shooting, the fact it's applied now, and I'm like, I think Steph is the only shooter in the league I think is better at it than he is because
Maybe
I
Con
mean,
Canople.
Khan he might get there, but the Khan is like Khan is not getting the difficult looks Ant
Yeah, no,
is.
no, no, no.
It's all
He's just like
created.
stand still shooting. Oh my God. Hey, he's otherworldly.
Otherworldly.
Yeah, no, it's Stefford. Like obviously, like Steph would probably be the best shooter until he retires, which is just the respect that he garnered. But that number 2 spot, it's probably Ant. Like I
Mhm.
can't off the top of my head, in terms of degree of difficulty, the tough shot making from the 3-point line, the type of defense he sees, and then the efficiency. I can't think of anybody. It's probably Ant-Man sitting pretty at 2.
And this is no disrespect to other great players we grew up watching. James Harden wasn't doing quite this.
Hell no.
Damian Lillard even wasn't doing quite this. And Dame was an excellent shooter.
Awesome. I don't think he was as efficient. I don't think.
No, no, he
But
wasn't as efficient. He hit really far threes, but I think the shots that Edwards takes from three, off the dribble, the step backs, the
mhm,
pull ups, I mean, the situational tough shot making, he's going to probably win Clutch Player of the Year at this rate with how
yep.
efficient he is late in games. I mean, it's unbelievable, man. It's good. The question now is, okay, is he a generational talent? I think he is. Now the
Yes.
question now goes to how does that get applied? Does he become that playmaker to completely round out his powers where he is the best guard offensive player of the generation? And then does Minnesota put him in the spot where he can take down a dragon like the Thunder or the Spurs or whatever happens out east? That's going to be the question. And that's up to the front office. I think they're in a spot where I think they could surprise people this year with one small move. But, I don't think it's a guarantee that they're in the tier of San Antonio or OKC or Denver right now. I think they're close. They're definitely in the top of that. I think they're cemented at 4 right now.
Mhm.
But that's going to be the question. Can they apply the talent around Ant so he can maximize his window? And that's how he becomes a generational player, in my opinion.
I agree. I think right now he's knocking at the door of greatness. And funny, Joel made a funny, it was funny when he said it, because he said it like I want to say the year before last year. He was like, Anthony Edwards is gonna end up a top 20 player of all time. And when he said it at first, we were like, dude, like, wait, like, can you just pump the brakes, wait, relax, let's slow down a bit. And we're talking about him now being a generational player. What does he need to do? He's already a playoff riser. So I think that's the first part. That's the most important part. It's actually funny because to get into those conversations, the Kobe, the D Wades, SGA is now walking into those conversations. You need to be a
Yeah.
playoff riser. You need to be as dominant as them. I think Ant can do that. It's something to say about that front office just being able to really not mess up this window. They messed up with Kevin Garnett. They messed up bad. One could argue Kevin Garnett's probably a generational talent, by the way. But this was a do-it-all big man. But
Put him on San Antonio instead of Tim Duncan. I still think they get 4 or 5 championships.
it's a conversation we won't have right now. Tim
Tim Duncan's
Duncan.
great. I would take Tim Duncan over KG all the time.
There we go.
I'm saying you put him in San Antonio. I think Kevin Garnett, he has the IQ to fall in line in that system like he did in Boston when he got older.
That's
And he
fair.
also has the athletic tools to be a defensive freak
That's
there.
fair.
And
But here's the difference. I think people forget this. Kevin Garnett came in at 17 years old. 17 years old. Tim Duncan walked in, matured up already. That's where I think the difference is. He came in, I think 21, 22 years old, and they went to the finals year 1, year 2. Like Tim Duncan was kind of came in already. KG, it took him a little bit of time. He's more of a younger, product, but I do think KG's more talented than Tim Duncan.
He developed in Minnesota, bro. Imagine if he developed in San Antonio.
But do they have the patience? That's the thing.
That's fair. That's fair.
Do they have the patience? But I do think KG more talented than Tim. Probably the most talented power forward.
He did figure it out by year 3.
Yeah.
And Tim Duncan got drafted in 97, so that would have been similar timing because KG got drafted in 95.
Yeah, year 3 though. Tim Duncan was what in the second finals?
That'd be year 5 for KG in age equivalence.
Yeah.
So
something like that.
So I don't know. I think it's a conversation.
It is a good one. All this to say though, Minnesota, don't mess up again. Don't mess up again.
Yeah.
I think you've built a good team though. Rudy Gobert is aging, so you have to figure that out. So,
he's been unreal this year.
Yeah, no, I don't know when he's going to decline, but he's up there in age. So you have to always just keep that in the back of your head.
This team right now, I think this is the biggest question with this team. How do they round out the identity of the squad? Because right now it's Anthony Edwards dominating on offense and Rudy Gobert dominating on defense. That's the team right now.
Steph and Draymond.
Rudy Gobert is off the court. Defense falls apart.
Yep.
Jokic killed the Timberwolves because of the Randall Nas front court. Rudy was a plus 28 in that game. And he is at minimum, bro. Minimum second in defensive player of the year right now with the way he's playing. He's that good.
Would you make a call for Robert Williams?
I would. I mean, you have to
like
look at it back.
That problem is you don't have a backup defensive five.
No. And Beringer, I think, will get there.
Eventually,
but he's a kid.
Yeah,
he's a kid.
You can't rely on him right now.
No.
That's like a year 2, year 3 product.
Do you think, I asked this question on the show the other day, do you think getting another playmaker or getting a backup big is more important for the ceiling of the squad?
Well, I think that the big man thing fits more to your identity. So if you can get it, and it'd probably be cheaper. So if you can get a big, that's super important because, like you mentioned, but realistically, how many minutes is Rudy going to play off the floor in the playoffs?
Exactly. That's where we were talking about the show. Rudy's going to play 36 minutes a game in the playoffs. And if you're having 12 minutes of Nas and Randall, which is improved together defensively, and they both can play at a very high level for a big, I think you get a point guard or another playmaker. Is there a world, man? This is like my dream world. It's probably just a wet dream, probably just something that will never happen. But I want a world where they get another high-level playmaker, bro, and they keep Dante. And then you have Dante move to the bench. But I think that's hard because Dante's contract is what's intriguing for other teams.
Super friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think about moving Nas Reed? I think that's a guy that can get you. That's a good amount of money that can.
But then you have no big.
Yeah, tricky slope you're in. It's time to move Rob, brother. It's time.
The answer of this team would be so much simpler if Rob was good. If Rob was really good, all of us would be like, rejoice, let's get a backup center.
Yeah. It's you guys are kind of tight with money right now.
Mm-hmm. And draft picks.
Yeah, man. Damn. I mean, Mike's making 10, but you'll have to attach something with him.
Yeah. Rob, I think he's going to get traded, dude. I really do.
Who's going to want him? That, like we mentioned, that point guard style is dying.
But that's the problem. Like we're talking about, like we don't want to call in Sexton. I think Mike plus Rob plus a couple seconds might get you Sexton if Charlotte's trying to get off of him. And then the question is Sexton a winning player? And he plays really hard. Not the smartest guard on the planet, but he plays really hard. He can score. But that's probably more realistic than getting Kobe White without giving up Dante, because I think Kobe's very attainable, but I guarantee the Bulls are like, let's get Dante.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I think both guys, honestly, you have to keep in play. I mean, shit, if you eventually have to give up Dante for Kobe White, I'd still package Mike and Rob and go get Rob Williams. Or just Mike Conley in like 2 seconds.
Man, now we're really thin at point guard.
Yeah, but you were thin regardless.
We still got Bones. We got Bones. He's cooking lately. I think
Bones is solid. He's
what do you
basically
think of Bones
Rob.
as a piece? What do you think of Bones as a piece, man? Because he's younger than Terrence Shannon, and he's playing well. And I have always felt like players like this, it's never a talent issue with a guy like Bones Highland. He was a productive player on Jokic's first MVP season, I believe, without Jamal. They struggle getting that chemistry back. There are questions about his maturity. Goes to the Clippers. They get James Harden. And then it's just a bad situation, but probably a grounding situation. Now he's coming here, man. He's playing better. He's got a good attitude. He's kind of doing it, man. Do you think he can be kind of a bench piece in the future?
Yeah, I think he's he's exactly what a Jordan Clarkson could give you off the bench. Like, I think if he's in the right state of mind, if he's in a good place, he can be a guy that comes off the bench and give you a spark plug. I think that's kind of his game. That's been his game. Has he found a home? He wasn't bad. I think his first year or two in Denver.
No, not at all.
Yeah, he just a lot of things happened and he fell out the league a little bit. Now he's come back. But I think Bones is the perfect type of guard off the bench where we just need you to go out there and get some buckets. Offense a little down right now, or we're up 15. We needed to keep up. Go out there and get some buckets. I think Bones is like, you have your perfect backup guard. It's just about getting that starting spot, because I think Dante's the perfect 6 man too. So it's like just getting that guard spot, which we were talking about, it's super tough right now. But excuse me, Kobe White, Colin Sexton, I'm blanking. There has to be somebody else.
It has to be. I mean, people will talk about like LaMelo or,
LaMelo, I
but
feel like it's
it's not
impossible for you
realistic.
guys. Yeah.
It's not. You're
And I
giving
think,
up
LaMelo,
Randall.
B. Miller, and Connor 7 and 4 when they all play.
That's crazy. I mean, they have a flamethrower trio, and
I love it.
for
I'd wait.
all 11 games a year they play together, it's a flamethrower.
Yeah, I'd wait on it. I'm not moving LaMelo. Not right now. Like,
Mm.
I'd wait one more. Give me like 2 more years. See, we're gonna get another top pick. If it's AJ or Cameron Boozer, we can make them. We can run. We can
Dude,
do it.
I can't sell stock. I'm not in a position to because I said some wild stuff about LaMelo's talent over the years that if I am one who sells, I look so stupid. And I joke about it on the show. That 2020 draft, I had
Mhm.
LaMelo 1, Denny Avdia 2, and Edwards 3 in that
Denny
draft.
was in there.
Yeah,
Whoa, that was his class.
that was his class.
I thought he was the year after. You had Denny where?
I had him 2 that year,
Jesus
pre-draft.
Christ, Wilder! What the hell?
Hey, he's an all-star potentially this year. It's working out sort of. He
Not
isn't.
really. No.
He's giving you 26, 7, and 6.
Over Ant is nuts.
Over
Nuts.
Ant was bad. That was a really bad take. It was
Even
an
over
awful take.
Halliburton is fake crazy. I know he's hurt, but like still fake crazy.
Iowa State Halliburton, he played a couple years. I mean, had a good year, but there was real questions about his shot in the NBA, just the speed of it. I had questions about it. I was wrong, but I mean, it was a good draft, man. Maxey was at 21. Bane was at 30. It was the definition of COVID. We didn't see any of these guys play draft.
Well, Maxey was awesome, dude. Like,
Even at Kentucky, he was good.
yeah, let's go to that draft class real quick. Let's see where you guys messed up at. The
We got
Rob
Jaden that year too.
No, I'm talking about the Robert Dillingham. Rob Dillingham. Let's see. He was picked number 8. Damn. What pick you had originally?
So we had 27. We took Shannon, but then this is where it gets bad. We traded the 2030 swap and a 2031 first to get Rob.
Okay. All right. So this was San Antonio's pick at first.
Yeah.
Is what it's saying. Dang. All right. So obviously Ricochet horrible. We're gonna move off him. Sarr went 2. You couldn't get Shepard. He went 3.
I would love him.
Yeah, Castle would have been cool for you guys too. He went 4. Ron Holland is fine. You missed those.
He was my number 1 prospect, by the way. Castle was my number 1 prospect that year.
Me too.
I'm proud of myself. Hey,
yeah, me too.
Rejoice, bro.
Yeah, me too. He was awesome. I don't know what people were thinking. All right, after Rob, it's not terrible. Like Zach Edey, you probably weren't going to pick him. Cody Williams is terrible. Yeah, Buzelis. But then Devin Carter, Topic, he has something wrong with him.
He's eligible to play NCAA basketball, by the way.
Yeah, he hasn't played a game in the NBA.
He could play at Duke, actually. He can. He's allowed to.
I think he has cancer. I don't know if it's cancer, but I think he has something
it's cancer where you don't want it.
Yeah. Bub Carrington sucks. Khalil Ware. Khalil Ware would have made you not be able to pick Behringer.
Man, that's true. Behringer, dude, I'm excited about him. I really am. There's a world too. There's a world, and this is why I think you can also be pro point guard at the deadline. Is that what if Behringer has upward development where he's play ready second half of the year? Because right now, I mean, preseason he looked good. There's some stuff with him. He's a little jumpy defensively. Rebounding positioning can be better, but he tries. That's really fixable. So he's played basketball 4 years. Is there a world where Behringer? I like Behringer, dude. Like
that's what I'm saying. I feel like you have to keep him.
I have real questions about the player development on this team. I do. For players who don't play, I think Finch did a great job developing Ant, Jaden Nas, but I also would say he kind of had to with where the team was. But now there's these guys on the back of the bench like Leonard Miller, who I still think has talent, or Rob, Shannon, Minot, who's playing well. And then I just think Behringer is the best fit because I think Behringer kind of has that European style that Finch likes. I always say Finch is a European coach, and you could tell he coached in Europe for over a decade. And you could tell with the way he coaches, Behringer is comfortable playing a role. So I think Behringer will work out.
I agree. I think you need Rudy security.
Rudy
I think
security, bro.
you kind of have to keep him. You know what I'm saying? Right now, we're in the business of trying to upgrade point guard. You don't want to take away from your security spots. Leonard Miller not working out yet has been surprised because he has prototypical NBA size. It's actually
So skilled
unfortunate.
too. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's so unfortunate. It's so
athletic.
unfortunate. That would have been so dope for you guys.
Do you think it's probably just because I was saying this? There's some players who, because the NBA is becoming a utility league,
Mhm.
with it's not about whether you're good enough to be in the NBA or not. There's like 800 fantastic players on this earth. It's more about, okay, here are two or three best players who has the best utility skill set around them. And a lot of these players, like a Rob or even a Terrence Shannon or Leonard Miller, these guys who have all these unique gifts, but they just struggle to scale down in a pure utility role around these guys. Is that part of the reason why we're not seeing these guys work out on a team that already has a star trying to win?
That makes sense. Yeah. I mean, like when you already have an established dude and then a couple dudes after him that have kind of built a hierarchy, you want the other guys to fit around them. So, like Golden State, for example, all their young players have to fit around Steph. Like, there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So it's like why you see that they're awful at developing unless you have the skill set already to be
Mm-hmm.
able to, play around Steph. But if you can't play around Steph and be a fit to Draymond, if the hierarchy you cannot be set with them,
It's why
you're
Kevon
fine.
Looney works, bro. It's why he
Love him.
worked.
He will get a statue because what he did was all world. Love him to death.
He was a talented dude who figured out a role. I mean, in high school, you watch his highlights, you're like, is that Kevon
Dog.
Looney?
Yeah, he's a dog. Like that's why Pods works, even though he's ass, because he can play around the other two guys. Dude, Kaminga's getting DMPs. He's probably traded. I think.
He gone.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's in like 2-3 weeks he's eligible. But dude, he's probably it's over. It's never been more over.
I bet he's in Phoenix at the end of this.
Phoenix for who?
I have
Brooks.
no.
If we get Wilder,
You're not getting Brooks for Kaminga.
oh, dude, why'd you gas me like that?
I don't know what the deal is. That just came to my head. I have to
Oh,
think
okay.
about this a little bit. Oh man, because Phoenix, they have a couple bigs too. They have a couple bigs you can. It might be something a little underwhelming, like Richards and something.
Yeah. Come in, come. I said come. Kaminga's getting 20 mil a year though.
20 mil. So what is Richards making? Probably like 9
Five.
million.
No, I think he's at like 5 or 6.
Are you sure is that little?
Yeah, 2K, dude. It helps you with everything. Yeah, he's at 5.
He's at 5. Okay, you might have to stash something on top of it.
I'd love
Well,
Grayson Allen.
Grayson Allen plus Richards.
I wouldn't hate it. It's something for nothing. He's not playing. So like,
Allen, he could play in that Warriors, spacing the
hell
floor,
yeah.
speed.
We need some shooting. We need some knockdown shooters.
Richards, he's not very good, but he's physical.
Yeah, bring him. It's like just add him to the deal. Like, sure. Like, all right. Like, yeah, I'm cool with that. Would you guys?
Kaminga,
Oh my God! Would you guys be able to get Colin Gillespie?
dude, I would do some terrible things to do that because he's good. I don't see why Phoenix would trade him. He's making nothing, and he's a real starting caliber player. Every time I watch him, he
He's
takes
awesome.
over. He's good.
And if you guys could have stole Peyton Pritchard from the Celtics, man, dude, that'd have been a movie too, man.
Tim Connolly's a smart guy, though. He's really good at finding the surprise deal. That's like, whoa, how do you think about that? And then it happens. I never thought about Randall and Donde, or what the hell? What just happened in my mouth? Randall and Donde. Randall and Dante for Cat. I never foresaw that, but
Yeah, that
that's
shit
his
definitely
nature.
came out of the woodwork. Who who would you say? All right, so Minnesota 12-11. Any team that fears you in the West, like legit fear.
Like, we scare them.
No, like you're scared of them.
Oh, scared of them? I mean, OKC is really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think
You
this,
just beat them the other day.
yeah, I mean, they have one thing that bugs us in 7 game series. They have a lot of or perimeter pressure.
Yeah.
And that just, when you have minimal ball handlers, that puts a lot of pressure on Ant. So that scares me. I still think the Spurs not playing one playoff minute, nobody in that roster's played a minute in Spurs jerseys in playoff basketball. That hasn't happened yet.
Yeah,
So,
Harrison Barnes is ass in the playoffs anyway, so you don't even got to worry about that.
so I'm not that worried yet. I think they're coming, but I don't think they're here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think they can kind of hold their own. Denver, I always think they have a shot against Denver. And they should have won the other day if they don't melt down late in the refs and everything and reacting to the refs, all of that. So, yeah, I think if they add another guard, I feel good about. I can put them in that upper echelon, but until that, I think they're more flawed than the top three
And you're
in the West.
comfortable against Houston and Lakers.
Yes, we would beat the Lakers. And Houston has a similar problem as we do,
Mhm.
but we have Anthony Edwards, and they don't. They have Kevin Durant, but we got Jaden McDaniels. So,
There you go. I've known you got when you guys play, your games are really good. Very ugly games, but super, super entertaining for sure. Just two nasty defenses just beating each other up for 48 minutes.
dude, it's so funny. It always happens. It always happens. This team, I feel like it's not as like, appealing to the eye as the Prime Warriors, but man, Ant's entertaining, and that always
He
helps.
is. He is.
Yeah. Well, Riv, we are almost an hour into the show, man. I don't want to take up your whole day, dude. This has been so awesome. Just thank you for being on the show.
Of course, man. Of course. I'm glad I got some free time, man. I've been working so hard. Now I get this break. So I got a lot of free time on my hands. So so many people hit me up. So now I gotta like share my love.
Heck yeah, man. You're grinding, man. You're doing great things in your normal life as well as the pick a side life, man. You're always killing it. We were talking about, man, you got some iconic TikTok videos that always pop up on my feed.
Yeah, man. It's a beautiful thing. And I just hope that I get viral for a moment I'm proud of.
Mm, yeah, absolutely. You don't have a lot of things I would say that are concerning for why you went viral. So you're good. Well, everybody, if you haven't subscribed to Wilder Wolves, would so appreciate that. We're going to continue getting awesome guests like River on the show and get a good variety. We try to get as many voices on the show as possible, whether you're a fan, whether you're an analyst of the team, whether you are a national analyst like Riv, I would consider a national analyst of the NBA. And we're going to continue getting a lot of people on. Riv, hopefully you come on the show. Thank you so much. And this is Wilder Wolves Hall of Fame mode fandom.